USC hits the road to the desert for the first time this season. Pac-12 football continues to thrive. And later, we have an exclusive interview with a prominent sports figure.
Welcome back to Sports Scene. I'm Pickle Coleman.
I'm Casey Kasliner.
And I'm Scott Hills. It was a long USC weekend with no Trojans on the field, but do not fret because USC football is back this weekend. The Trojans are taking their talents to Tempe for their first away game of the season. Arizona State's season started with an unconvincing win over the Thunderbirds of Southern Utah, where they barely won 24-21. Freshman quarterback Jaden Rashada threw for 236 yards and 2 touchdowns in the Sun Devils win. In week 2, the Sun Devils lost 27-15 to Oklahoma State as they had a measly 277 total yards. Arizona State's next game, however, was even worse as Fresno State obliterated them 29-0, forcing 8 turnovers. The Sun Devils are 1-2 on the season so far with 1 win against Southern Utah at home. They will look to break their 2-game loss streak this weekend, coming off of back-to-back losses against Oklahoma State and Fresno State, but they face a tough opponent against the 5th-ranked USC Trojans.
You may already know which Trojans to watch on the field, but what about the other 11 on the other side of the ball? We are going to introduce you to some of ASU's key players. It is time to meet the opponent. Injuries at the quarterback position have been detrimental to the Sun Devils' offense. With quarterbacks Jaden Rashada and Trenton Bourguet both out for the foreseeable future, ASU's offense has been unable to light a spark. Last week against Fresno State, the Sun Devils turned the ball over 8 times and were shut out for the first time since 2008. Backup QB Trenton Bourguet left the game early with an injury, and the game didn't get any better from there with QB Drew Pine.
My ASU player to watch this week is junior running back Cameron Skattebo. Skattebo won the Big Sky Conference Offensive Player of the Year award in 2022 when he played for Sacramento State. He has potential to be ASU's most valuable offensive player this season with 133 yards in 31 rushing attempts, 2 touchdowns, and 5 receptions in his first 3 games.
With the Sun Devils' struggles offensively, the team has had to turn to its dynamic defense to continue trying to build momentum early in the season, with a strong D-line that has been successful in pressuring the quarterback. A key part of this ASU defensive line has been junior B.J. Green, who has played a crucial role in pressuring the quarterback on that hefty ASU interior after ranking 4th among FBS interior linemen with 11 QB hits last season. Joined on the D-line by Deshaun Mallory and Trey Brown, this powerful D-line will be matched up against the likes of Jarrett Kingston and Justin Dedich, who will look to lead USC's offensive line and continuing to protect Caleb Williams. I know I will definitely be looking to see if the ASU defense can, keep up with that USC offensive line. Those are just a few of the Sun Devil names Trojans fans should know. The game is at 7:30 Pacific time, Saturday night on Fox.
Yeah, so on a bye week, the Trojans are still hard at work. And what do you guys think, coming off of this bye week, how the Trojans will adjust in Tempe, Arizona this weekend?
Coming off of a bye week, they really have an opportunity to rest and heal this week, but simultaneously make improvements defensively. It'll be interesting to see how USC responds to, this opportunity to rest coming up against an unequally matched conference opponent.
Obviously, USC is coming against an opponent that has struggled this year. I think it's a good opportunity for the USC defense playing basically a third-string quarterback and utilize some of those defensive players to improve their defense and kind of get a practice run at it.
And now here's what Coach Lincoln Riley has to say about the bye week.
The bye week falls, however many games you have in a row, you can make the argument about rest on a bye week. You can make the argument about keeping rhythm and not having to break that on a bye week. I mean, it all matters. I don't know that it all matters at the end. You have to handle it. We're given the schedule well in advance. We know when we're going to play. We know when the breaks are, and it's up to us to have a great plan to get it done and our guys to execute it.
For the players, the bye.
Press from football. Still watching. That's not what pros are doing right now. Nah. This is process time. So, like I said, this bye week was really a reality check for me and Maze. We sat down, the whole just LB group sat down and just really talked and had a real talk with each other. So, be excited to come.
The Heisman himself, Caleb Williams, is off to a hot start. But Daniel, what can you tell us about the other Pac-12 quarterbacks?
Well, Pickle, Pac-12 quarterbacks have been dominating their opponents ahead of Week 4. 8 teams in the Pac-12 are ranked in this week's AP Top 25 poll, 3 of which are in the top 10. Junior Caleb Williams has 13 total touchdowns on the season as USC remains unbeaten. Colorado's Shedeur Sanders has established himself as a Heisman candidate, along with Washington quarterback Michael Penix Jr. While quarterbacks like Sanders and Penix make waves in the media, other notable names like Oregon's Bo Nix are having a hot start to the season with 8 touchdowns. Trailing just behind Nix and leading the Oregon State Beavers to a number 14 national ranking is DJ Uiagalelei. The Clemson transfer has been letting it rip, racking up 682 yards this season. The Pac-12 quarterbacks are sure keeping college football interesting right now. And speaking of that, fans will be treated to a great Pac-12 quarterback matchup this weekend as the 19th-ranked Buffaloes hit the road to face Bo Nix and the 10th-ranked Oregon Ducks. So Thomas, with all the great Pac-12 quarterback play we've seen this season, which guy has impressed you the most so far?
See, I think all of the quarterbacks are, pretty close to each other. There's a lot of talent, but I want to go up north to Seattle, Washington. Michael Penix Jr. has been lights out in his first 3 games. 1,332 passing yards, leads FBS, 12 passing touchdowns, tied for second in college football. What better can you ask for than a quarterback out of Michael Penix Jr. through the first 3 games? His team is number 8 in the country, Daniel.
Well, I'll tell you what better. I'm going to go with Colorado's Shedeur Sanders. Over 1,200 passing yards to open up the season, 10 TDs. And when you look at where Colorado was last year, 1-11, now in the national rankings, and you look at what he did, albeit against a Colorado State team that they should have beaten by more points, isn't really that good. But he went out there and won that game without his star Heisman candidate in Travis Hunter. So I've just been really impressed with what Shedeur has done this season, and I'm going to take him as the most impressive Pac-12 QB.
But Daniel, you just mentioned it. They almost just lost to Colorado State of all teams. Michael Penix just drubbed Michigan State 41-7. I don't care if Shedeur was without Travis Hunter. If you can't beat Colorado State convincingly, you cannot possibly be the top quarterback in the Pac-12. I don't understand it.
You make some great points there, Thomas, but I was just going to go, I think the storyline of what Colorado has done this season and with what Shedeur has been able to do with Dion in terms of turning the program around, I'm going to go with him as the most impressive guy. But you did make some great points there.
Okay, Daniel. Well, I like stats over storylines, but you do you.
And with the Pac-12, with the QBs leading the way, the Pac makes up 32% of the top 25. This week, however, the rankings may shake up a bit. Casey, back to you.
Yeah, Daniel, if you haven't heard yet, the Pac is back. The Pac-12 will see plenty of action as 6 of the 8 ranked members are set to face off this weekend against each other. The Pac-12 is the strongest conference in the country right now in college football, which gives viewers some of the best football matchups in the country. Pac-12 teams just keep rising up the ranks. We're going to break down some of the best conference games this weekend. Shedeur Sanders and number 19 Colorado will head to Eugene to face Bo Nix and number 10 Oregon. Oregon steamrolled Hawaii in a 55-10 drubbing on Saturday, with Nix throwing for 247 yards and 3 touchdowns. Colorado is coming off an early contender for Game of the Year against Colorado State, beating the Rams in double overtime. Number 11 Utah will welcome number 22 UCLA to Salt Lake City to play the Bruins on Saturday. Last week, Utah beat Weber State 31-7, still without star senior quarterback Cam Rising, who looks to finally make his return this week. Meanwhile, UCLA crushed NC Central 59-7 at the Rose Bowl, with new quarterback Dante Moore throwing for 182 yards and 3 touchdowns. And number 21, Washington State, will host number 14, Oregon State. Oregon State is coming off a 26-9 victory over San Diego State in a game where Oregon State defense dominated, sacking SDSU's junior quarterback Jalen Maiden 6 times and picking him off once. Meanwhile, Washington State decimated Northern Colorado 64-21, with sophomore quarterback Cameron Ward throwing for 327 yards and 4 touchdowns. So, with all these games in store, what are you guys looking forward to coming this week with the Pac-12 ranked matchups?
For me, I'm most looking forward to UCLA versus Utah. I think both teams are extremely strong offensively, had great seasons last season. Obviously, Utah had a heyday with the Trojans, but it's going to be really exciting to watch, and I think that it's going to be really telling for what USC can, look forward to when they match up against those two teams.
Absolutely.
Sure thing, Pickle, but I'm looking to Oregon State versus Washington State. It's a matchup of two well-played quarterbacks in Cameron Ward for Washington State and DJ Uiagalelei for Oregon State. These two teams have really risen to the top of the Pac-12 rankings this year. I'm taking Oregon State to win it, but I think it's going to be an exciting game regardless.
Absolutely. I know I'm really looking forward to the Oregon-Colorado game, but I think all of them are exciting, especially with all the storylines. Travis Hunter, unfortunately, out for Colorado. The Buffaloes will definitely suffer because of that, but nothing beats a great weekend of Pac-12 football. Should be a lot of great games in store, and I'm looking forward to everything that'll happen. Still to come, an exclusive interview. And USC's other sports are looking good too. Next on Sports Scene.
Fushigi!
Fushigi, I don't know what it is, but it's the coolest thing ever, and I can do it.
Hi, I'm Tim Goey, and this is Fushigi. We're gonna show you how to unlock the secrets of Fushigi, the magic gravity ball. No strings, no tricks. Magic? Maybe. An illusion? You decide. You can make Fushigi defy gravity and appear to float in midair with maneuvers like the prayer cross, the enigma, levitation, and so many more. It floats, it levitates, it will confuse the senses with its mind-blowing movements. Young or old, big or small, anyone can Fushigi from the minute they pick up the magic gravity ball. And with a little practice, you can conquer Fushigi.
This is so amusing.
I think it's fabulous.
I get it now.
Everyone loves Fushigi, and you don't have to be a magician. It's relaxing, even therapeutic. Best of all, it's just amazing.
It floats.
It's awesome. Fushigi.
From basic maneuvers to the advanced, even control more than one Fushigi at a time. You can do this. Mystify, amaze, and confuse your friends in just minutes. Now it's your turn to master Fushigi.
Fushigi.
It's sick. It's so much fun. I love it.
It's amazing.
I love it.
Me too.
My grandson, he's 16, he would love one of those. I want to buy it now.
Fushigi. Call now to order Fushigi.
Welcome back. USC football has suspended Orange County Register beat reporter Luca Evans for 2 weeks after he violated the team's media policies. Evans reportedly published a story about freshman running back Quinton Joyner that included a conversation between Joyner and another player. USC took issue with this story, which the publisher called an overreaction. The media has had mixed responses to the suspension, as while some stay in support of the team's privacy, others defend the beat writer's actions. Lincoln Riley was asked about the incident after practice yesterday.
The media here has been great partners in my 2 years here. I've enjoyed working with the media thoroughly. I don't feel like we have, too many rules, too many policies, but the ones that we do have, we take them serious because my first job is not to, even though it is part of my job, it's not to the media, it's not to the fans, it's not to anybody else, it's to protecting our players. And that is, first and foremost, that will always be priority number one. And so, there was enough there. I know the article in question was not accurate. There were multiple policies broken, and felt like it was far enough that we needed to act. But we'll look forward to welcoming back the reporter in question once that time comes.
We'll have to see how the suspension plays out and if the reporter is welcome back to the Coliseum. Now let's send it over to Crash, who has the keys to the upcoming women's volleyball match.
That's right, Pickle. The Trojans are approaching another big match tonight against UCLA. However, last weekend was a wild one in West Lafayette for the volleyball team who took home its first Big Ten sweep. The Trojans went down to Big Ten country this past weekend for the Boilermaker Challenge and took home 2 wins against Illinois and then number 17 Purdue. Skylar Fields was named the tournament MVP, and Gala Trubant joined her on the all-tournament team. Now on to the next. Skylar Fields and the Trojans open conference play tonight against crosstown rival UCLA Bruins at Pauley Pavilion. The game is at 7 p.m. The Trojans won both Crosstown Showdown matchups over the Bruins last season, winning in 4 sets both times. This season, UCLA is under new leadership after Alfie Reft was hired as the Bruins' new head coach. He's an assistant of the USA women's national team and helped San Diego get to the Final Four last season as the Toreros' associate head coach. The Bruins are 8-2 on the season so far. Here are some keys to the game if USC wants to win this edition of the Crosstown Showdown. Spread the ball on offense. USC has multiple players capable of putting the ball away, including Fields, London Weijay, and Lindsey Miller. Mia Tuaniga and Emily Fitzner have shown that they are capable of keeping all hitters involved, making for a balanced offense that will keep the Bruins on their toes throughout tonight's match. I was talking to Coach Keller after Monday's practice, and he told me it was important for USC to, quote, work on moving grains of sand and not the whole mountain at once, end quote. Let's see if the Trojans can move some of those grains as they take on the Bruins tonight at 7 p.m.
Earlier this week, the USC women's golf team tore up the course at Chambers Bay Golf Course in Washington. The Trojans blew their competition out of the water. After 3 rounds, USC led the field by 31 strokes. The 5 Trojans shot for a combined score of 27 under par, leading USC to victory was junior Amari Avery. Avery has a long list of accomplishments that include a top 10 finish at 2 junior majors. Ranked number 2 in her class, Avery has been called the next Tiger Woods of women's golf by some. Ranked number 9 nationally right now, Avery will play a major role in the success of the Trojans. Next on the Trojan schedule is a trip to Chicago, where they will compete in the Windy City Classic, where the Trojans will take on some future Big Ten opponents.
2 Trojan athletes received Pac12 weekly honors for their standout performances this week. Women's volleyball outside hitter London Weijay was named Pac12 Freshman of the Week. This is her first Pac12 weekly honor. She started just 2 games, but Twitter has been expressing how impressed they are with Weijay. USC's Maribel Flores of women's soccer received Pac12 Offensive Player of the Week honors. In the shutout win against New Mexico State, Flores contributed to all 3 goals. She scored once and assisted 2 goals in the victory. Weijay will look to make another big impact tonight against UCLA, while Flores will look to score some more in Friday's Pac-12 opener against Utah. Well, it was another week of standout performances across USC Athletics. Thomas, Daniel, who are your Trojans of the week?
Well, Scott, it was another week of standout performances from the Trojans. Daniel and I have our picks for Trojan of the week. I want to bring it back to an award winner from this week, London Weijay. She helped spark USC's upset win over Purdue on the Boilermakers' home court, recording her first double-double with 18 kills and 12 digs. But what's so special about Weijay is she's still only 17 years old. She graduated a year early from high school to compete for the Trojans and is already making waves. I don't know about you, Daniel, but I never could have been a D1 athlete at 17, even now at the age of 20. There's a reason I'm sitting here on this couch.
Thomas, that is a great pick. I'm going to show some love to the water polo team. Junior Luka Bernatic's 3 goals against UCSB Saturday were a career high, and the Trojans took down the Gauchos of Santa Barbara 16-8. And Bernatic has been one of USC's most lethal scorers, as he had 19 goals as a sophomore and scored in 15 games with 4 multiple goal outings.
Next week, we'll see which Trojans get our pick for Trojan of the Week. Coming up, an exclusive interview with sports businesswoman Farron Benjamin. And how are the USC pros performing? Find out next.
He's going to go up about 15 yards.
I'm working for an hourly wage. I went to high school, didn't do great. Still I gotta make more cash. More education is what I'm looking at. When I get a degree, I will make a bigger salary. So now I've got to see which college is right for me. I went on the internet and found Education Connection. I took some free tests to find out my direction. I'm taking my classes online, getting my degree on my own time. Education Connection matched me with the right college for free. Get connected for free with Education Connection. Get connected for free with Education Connection.
Log on now and get your free success kit worth $100. Log on now to educationconnectiontv.com. That's educationconnectiontv.com.
There's a new pet.
Chia.
Chia Pet, the pottery that grows. It's fun and easy. Soak your chia, spread the seeds, keep it watered, and watch it grow. And now grow a whole collection of fun with Chia teddy bears, puppies, kittens, rams, bulls. There's even a chia tree to keep your pets company. Chia Pets and Trees, the pottery that grows.
The Chia Pet and Chia Tree are available at Kmart, Rite Aid, Ames, and Woolworth. Makes a great gift.
Welcome back to Sports Scene. Earlier today, reporter Hayes Flanagan sat down with Farron Benjamin, who's the head of sports partnerships at Tag Board and an NFL agent. Farron has tips for being successful in the sports industry.
Oh, the greatest thing that I'm seeing is like more and more women are wanting to get in the industry, but they're wanting to really kind of roll up their sleeves. At Tag Board, I am proud to say that we have an entire sports squad, everywhere from sales reps to account managers to client success people, completely all women. I always tell people, like, relationships are the most important thing that you have. They're like a currency. And for me, my relationships are always built on honesty, open communication, and transparency. I like to be known as someone that shows up on time, that is a woman of her word, that says what she's going to do, that provides feedback of if I fall short, and these are things that I feel like in our industry, especially in the NFL industry, like, those qualities can sometimes be really lost because there's a lot of dollar signs floating around. And that type of open dialogue and building a relationship that's built on open communication, trust, and respect, like, those are things that they translate across so much more than a career. That's truly, like, if someone said, like, how do you want to be seen in 25 years? I want to be seen as someone who changed people's lives, but also did it the right way, and the honest way. And so that's kind of how I navigate, like, my relationships on the field, my relationships with the partnerships at Tag Board. I just always try to kind of be that person that everyone can count on. I always tell people, like, speak up. This is not an industry where you can be soft, quiet, reserved. It is an industry where you can get tanked and ran over at any point in time. And it's by other women, it's by men, it's by organizations, it's by money. Like, this is an industry that is meant for people to speak up.
That is some advice I will definitely take coming from a successful person in the sports industry. Great to hear from Farron and excited to hear about the panel.
It was another Sunday of success for some of USC's alums in the NFL. 2 members of the Trojans rookie class are already making an impact. Defensive lineman Tuli Tuipulotu, where he registered his first sack, and wide receiver Jordan Addison hauled in a 62-yard touchdown last Thursday, his second on the year. Receivers played big roles for their teams last week. Drake London rebounded from his 0 catches during week 1 and put up 67 yards and a touchdown. Amon Ross St. Brown had another strong performance, catching 6 passes for 107 yards. The USC versus ASU game may be Saturday night, but come Sunday, be ready for more standout performances from the Trojan alums. That's all for this week on Sports Scene. We'll see you next time. For everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Scott Hills.
I'm Casey Kasliner.
And I'm Pickle Coleman. Fight on!